So we'll start. I gotta say, I couldn't have thought of a better first speaker than Dr. Teri Pipe, because to really get you ready for today, I think it's good to pause a little bit and learn a little bit about. And you'll see in a second, she's a very calming person, and so she'll calm us down. Oh no pressure there. No, you have a mic up here. So every time I hear her speak, I just feel better about myself. So I thought this is a good way to start, and then the rest of the day we're just going to get all jazzed up. So it's going to ramp from here, but thank you so much. My first dean in the College of Nursing and Health Innovation, and now the Chief Wellness Officer for Arizona State University, Dr. Teri Pipe. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. I can take credit for hiring Rick, so isn't that fantastic? I didn't hire him at ASU, but I stole him, and so happy that we did. So welcome. This topic is mindfulness, innovation, longevity, resilience. So what do you think? We're going to practice first, all right? So there's nothing like experience. Even though you might not know what you're doing, we're going to do it, and then I'll tell you what you did. You game? All right, so first thing, please get your feet on the floor and your seat in the seat, or if you're standing, that's just fine. But feel the earth underneath you and get balance so that if you're sitting, not leaning one way or the other, but just really standing, sitting, grounded and upright. And then with your spine, just bring your back a little bit up from the chair so that you feel dignified. So you feel in touch with the power of your humanity, the power of yourself. And then if you'd like, you can drop your shoulders down a bit. You can even close your eyes if you'd like. You don't have to, not required, but you can. If you begin to snore, your neighbor will gently nudge you, so no worries. So just drawing the gaze inward. So each of you has done a lot of effort to get here this morning, so that's fantastic. Deserve a lot of credit. And now it's time to let that effort go and really arrive here. So often we move around in our bodies as if they were just a vehicle to carry our brain from thing to thing. But really getting back in touch with embodying yourself, getting in touch with who you are and how you are in this moment. Inviting your attention that might be running here and there and telling stories and noticing things, inviting your attention now to rest on your breath. So just noticing where your breath meets you, not trying to change anything about it, but just noticing. And as you do that, there's a really good chance that distractions will continue and thoughts will come in, feelings and physical sensations. And that is not a problem. It's not anything to tell yourself a story about. Just when it happens, bring your attention back to your breath or to your body, sitting or standing. Just notice what the silence can do, the power of silence and focus. Noticing if this is perhaps a different way to spend a few moments. And now really intentionally letting go of any tension that might be still existing in your body. So just doing a scan from the tip of your head all the way through to your toes. Scanning and releasing any tension, just really letting it go. So that you can fully be present and be right here. Breathing in, I calm my body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is the only moment. So now bringing some small movements into your fingers and your toes, and allowing your eyes to reopen. So now you're really here. Now you have arrived. So how are you? Great, good, and enthusiastic. Thank you. So when I think about sort of the combination of innovation and mindfulness, it really brings up a lot of interesting questions. So first of all, I want to talk about the center. So ASU has a center for mindfulness, compassion, and resilience that is hosted by the most innovative university in the country. So clearly they go together. So I'm going to turn the question back over to you. What do innovation and mindfulness have to do with each other? So first of all, what's mindfulness? Yes, being in the present moment. So being present. There's nothing really magical or mystical about it, and all of you know how to do it. You've known how to do it since you were a child. We just call it mindfulness because it helps us communicate about this state of being present. So, what does being present have to do with innovation? Yes, you're able to observe opportunities. You're awake for it, alive for it. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. So when you're mindful and present, you see things as they are, realistically. So just as you were observing your breath right now, mindfulness can help you be very objective, which sometimes we think of mindfulness as being a soft science or, like I said, a mystical state. It's really about being objective. So I often think about it as the dance floor is where our thoughts normally are. And we can be engaged in the dance of life, really drawn into the music and into the stories. That's fabulous and it's great. However, when we rise up to the balcony and we can watch the dance, it gives us all kinds of perspective on what's going on and what is story, what's that thing that we're telling ourselves, and what is real. So absolutely right. It gets us to be objective. What else? Where else do you see innovation and mindfulness being combined? Yes, you're more focused. Clarity, focus, all of this way of being. So mindfulness is a way of being. Innovativeness is a way of being. So when you're clear on the opportunity, you can actually create things that are meaningful for the user. Thank you very much. So I think of mindfulness, again, in terms of this focus, this way of attending without judgment, and often with compassion. And so when we think about innovation, we really do try to think without judgment, right? We try to be as objective as we can and as clear, as focused. So it's also really interesting to think what mindfulness is not. The way that we teach it at ASU, it is not a religion. It is very much based on many ancient religions, belief systems, cultures, but the way that we teach it is very accessible. If you have a belief system or if you have no belief system, it doesn't matter. You can practice this way. It's not clearing your mind, having no thoughts, because, so my background is nursing. If you have no thoughts, this is not a good thing. This is not a good state of life. We want you to have thoughts. Your brain is constantly working. So in mindfulness, it's a chance for you to notice your thoughts and bring your attention back. It might be to the breath, it might be to your eating, your drinking, your conversation, but in this context, it can be to your innovating, all right? So thinking about mindfulness and innovation, to me, is a really natural way of thinking. So I thought that we could, I have redesigned, I have innovated a practice in self-compassion to be a practice in innovation. So are you game to play? How many more minutes? All right, so we'll take care of your time. You just take care of your focus. We good? All right, so if you would, once again, get in. So I'm going to tell you what you're going to do, and then if you'd like to, you can do it. All of this is an invitation. So you are going to think about a process or a product or a problem that you are currently trying to innovate. Right? Does everybody have one? Do you need one? Okay, everybody has one. All right, so then what I'm going to do is we'll get you centered, and then what I'm going to ask you to do is to get clear about that issue, problem, innovation that you're trying, and then I'm going to ask you to think about another person who comes to you with this idea and how you might engage with that person, and then we'll take it global. All right? So your job is to sit as comfortably as you can and just follow my voice, and as much as you can, pay attention and follow my requests. And if you don't feel like doing this, just sit there. Just sit there and be comfortable. All right, so to begin with, it's a nice idea to get your feet on the floor just because you feel more grounded that way. For this one, you can lean back into your chair if that's comfortable. The main idea is for you to be comfortable and focused. And so once again, just dropping your shoulders down and getting relaxed in your body so that your mind can be oxygenated and fully supported so you can be creative. So now just taking a few deeper breaths. And the reason for this is to stimulate your vagal nerve, which goes down into your belly and your lungs and your heart, and it tells your brain that everything is okay. So there's a neuroscience reason to do this. So taking some deeper breaths, getting your mind and your body really aware of each other. And then getting clear about that problem or issue or innovation that you've been thinking about. So what is it exactly? And giving yourself some credit for all of the things that you've already tried. So chances are you've already thought, you've already done some creative work about this, so give yourself some credit and gratitude for that. And then imagine that there's a chair in front of you, and a really good friend of yours comes and sits in that chair. And that friend of yours describes this exact issue or problem to you. They tell you how it is for them, how it shows up in their body when they can't solve it. If it is perhaps a flight of thoughts or a tapping or an energetic twitch, a tweak, whatever it is for them. How does it show up in their body? They describe this to you, and of course they're describing to you what you experience. And then imagine listening to them really carefully and really with no judgment, with full acceptance. And then reflecting back to them the words that you need to hear right now as you consider this issue or problem. What are the words that would help you feel supported and creative and energized, motivated, and confident as you move forward with your ideas? So often we expect others to know exactly what to tell us, but really only you know the words that you need to hear about this. So extending those words and maybe even gestures to your friend in the chair in front of you. And then notice how they receive that gratefully and appropriately. And then they get up and leave. And then thinking about, for a moment, all the people in the world that have had an issue or a problem just like this. So this is you're probably not the first person to identify this issue. There are people around the globe, not only today, but in the past and in the future, who will be considering this issue. So really feeling a connection with all of those people, probably most of them you don't know, feeling that connectivity, and also recognizing that this state of unsolved problem is a state that comes and goes. It's impermanent. And that many people have already solved issues like this. And so will you. So will that be your experience too. And that after you have solved it, you will be in a position to help other people. And so this exercise of going inward and reflecting and getting in touch with your creativity in a supportive way, in a self-compassionate way, is not a selfish endeavor. It's actually very much about learning to serve others. So as you connect with the creative process of other people in the past and the future, recognizing that you'll have the chance to help and be connected with them. So finding, again, awareness of your body in the chair as you're sitting here in this room, finding some wiggles in your fingers and toes, maybe deepening your breath again for a time or two, and then reopening your eyes and becoming more aware of your surroundings. So any observations from you about that exercise? How did it go? Yes, thank you. It gave you a sense of hope. Can you say more about that?
So, in that moment, just seeing my friend's face was like, he was nodding back at me, and we could agree that I don't have the solution, but there is a path, and we're agreeing to take that path together.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you. There's hope in connecting our creative process with others. Other observations, yes?
It's true confessions here, and what I recognized was a conundrum of what's blocked me from developing some ideas that I have floating in my mind for many years, and that is the matter of intellectual property. I recognize the value of collaboration, the necessity for it, but I also feel like if I tell the wrong person my idea, someone might snatch it and they'll be more developed in being able to actually implement it. So how can I take an idea and maybe not actually develop the product, but develop the idea and market that to someone who has the expertise? And I have 2 ideas, and I'm not doing anything with them right now, partly because of that. So I just recognize that. So thank you for that. I noticed my block.
Thank you very much. So sometimes noticing where you're blocked or what's keeping you from something is exactly what you need to know to move forward. So I'm getting the sign that we've got 5 minutes to wrap up, which is just fine. What I wanted to also link with you is this idea of longevity, resilience, and healthy aging. So my background is I have a PhD in health policy and administration. I've majored in aging for both my doctoral and my master's degree. Aging is how I got interested in mindfulness in the first place, because when you work with people at the end of their life, they understand what's important really clearly. They get the clarity and the focus. They understand it. And so many times there's regret at the end of life. But it's not regret about what didn't happen generally. It's regret about not being awake and aware for life as it moves by moment by moment. And so thinking about mindfulness and being awake and alive for life, to me it also makes great sense that by teaching people, teaching all of us to be really alert and alive, awake, moment by moment, it will take away the regret. It also takes away anxiety, worrying about the future, and rumination about the past. Being in the present moment is a very powerful place, because that's where we have choice and where we have a chance to respond from our best self. So I want to thank you so much for how you've really put yourself into these exercises, and challenge you that mindfulness is a practice. It doesn't happen all at once. It takes day by day, moment by moment practice. And as innovators, it's a really powerful tool for you to connect with yourself and understand where the blocks are, where the hope is, where the momentum is, but also where you can connect with others. Because as you're present, you have to be present to collaborate. Because if you're busy in your mind, or you're busy thinking about the next thing you're going to say, or the next meeting, you won't be open to your collaborator. So all kinds of different applications, and I'm so excited to hear from you during the day. I'll be around all day, so if you see other connects between mindfulness and innovation and longevity and resilience, I would love to hear from you.